What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Watch Shop. And today, I'm in Central Park with two of the pieces in our current collection. Both Submariners, actually. One from Rolex and one from Tudor. So let's dive in. You get it? Divers. Boom, Watch Fam. Let's start with the Rolex. It's a reference 1680 Submariner, the first Submariner to feature a date complication, and this example dates to 1978. My favorite thing about this watch, and I know this sounds totally crazy, but it's original brushed silver date wheel. It adds depth and texture that you don't find in Submariners or watches, period, anymore, which is a shame. Its original dial was, at some point, probably in the late 70s or early 80s, damaged. But luckily, Rolex replaced it with a correct matte dial. The only difference between these particular service dials and the watch's originals are the open sixes in the depth rating, which is, while certainly of note and reflected in the market value, pretty insignificant, if you ask me. The overall condition here is immaculate. The case is very strong. If it has ever been polished, it was one, done lightly, and two, very professionally. Its original oyster bracelet is tight and bezel flawless. And the subtle coloring of the pearl at 12 is something that vintage geeks just go insane for. The 1680, and this one specifically, is a great watch. And it gets all of the love that it could ever ask for. But did you know that Tudor, Rolex's subsidiary company, also manufactured a Submariner? One that, for the last 40 years, and even still, by those who don't really get it, has been ignored? Well, here it is. It's a reference 94-110, and this example dates to 1976. Unlike Rolex's Submariner, Tudor offered the 94-110 in two different dial variations, one in black and one in blue. The black dial variations, as you could imagine, while they're beautiful, bear a much closer resemblance to the Rolex Submariner, so for that reason, they're looked at, while amazing, as a little bit more boring. The blue ones are the ones we're really looking for on the market. It has a crazy wow factor that you don't have to be a vintage watch geek aficionado to understand. It's just obvious. Not only does a blue scheme embrace the spirit of diving far better than black, but the way the dials and bezels complement the natural aging of the tritium hands, plots, and pearls is second to none. It has a crazy wow factor that you don't have to be a watch enthusiast to understand. The Jubilee bracelet is sick too. It totally elevates the look. While not born on this reference, it is genuine Rolex and found its way onto this beauty some time ago. I've seen this happen multiple times before, even once with a two-tone Jubilee on a vintage Sea Dweller. In recent years, Tudor Submariners have started to get some attention. Now, great examples like this are valued on par with some of their Rolex counterparts, and rightfully so. But don't let conventional knowledge fool you. Don't think that Tudor is just the cheaper Rolex alternative. Tudor's history, specifically with the Submariner, is rich. It stands on its own. Like Rolex with their Milsub, Tudor has genuine, bona fide military ties. Their MN Submariners, for example, MN standing for Marine Nationale, were commissioned by the French government, just the same as Rolex's was by the British. I'm a Datejust guy. I'm a Cartier freak. You're much more likely to find me with a Calatrava on my wrist over a vintage sports watch. But if I'm gonna go sport, I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna pick watches that excite me, and these watches excite me. And as you've probably hoped by now, both of these wonderful sports watches are officially available in the Theo and Harris watch shop. So don't walk, run. This is a manually wound watch with a sub-second and a power reserve.